Hello and welcome to this consultant timesheet spreadsheet. If you are having a look at this video to see how to use this, I'll hopefully be able to talk you through it. If you're wanting to see whether you want to purchase this or not, please do take notes and see if this will work for you. This will be the sheet that you will receive, the spreadsheet that you'll receive. As you can see, all the different tabs at the bottom here. This is the intro and setup tab, so we'll start with this one. Your name should be in there. I put my name in there for now, but your name should be in there. If you purchased it, and that's locked, so you can't change that. What you can do is make these two selections over here. You can either select the day, then obviously the digits for the dates. In other words, Monday would be MON 01, whatever month, whatever year. Or you can select the other way around with the month, first day. I know they prefer that in the States. But here in the UK, we usually use that. And obviously, you can select your currency as well. You've got your pounds, dollars, or rands if you're in South Africa. So those are your options for this. If you want to watch this video, you can click on this link over there, which will take you to the video on the business website, or you can click down here, which is a link which will take you straight to YouTube. There are some instructions down there, so take a look at those, but I will talk you through those in a second. The first thing you need to do before you can start using it is set up a job list. Now, I've already put some on here in order to populate some of these reports, but let me just show you how to do this. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to create a partnership between the client name and the job description. So here, for argument's sake, I'm putting client one. You can put the company name in here, but you see I've got client one 3 times with different jobs. So you want to try and create a client job reference that you understand what it means. And these have to be unique. These don't have to be unique. These don't have to be unique, but these here have to be unique. So how we do that is if you want to add another client, let's say we want to add in client number, or if you want to add in client 5, you can just type in client 5. Now when you go over here, you can see if you click on the drop-down list, client 5 has now been added to the list. So these are a list of the clients you've already used. The reason being is if you want to do another one for client 1, but you maybe spell it wrong and you do it like that, instead of IE, you put EI, now all of a sudden it's created a client 1 and a client 1. So that's not really what you want. So you want to make sure that you spell it correctly. That's why you've got the drop-down list, so you can actually just go and select the other client. But essentially, create a list of your clients down here and the job description. Now, once you've created this list, you can actually go over here and just go sort. So all your client ones are at the top, 1, 2, 3. You can sort it like that, or you can sort by job description. But whatever your job description and whatever your client name, you will then want to create a unique reference that you understand. So for argument's sake, I put client 1 marketing CL 1 Excel website based on that. You don't have to do it exactly like that. You can make up any client job reference, but when you go to your timesheet, which we'll look at in a second, and you click there, all you've got to select is your job reference. So you want to make sure that by that job reference, you understand what client it is and what job description it is. That's the best way to set up your job list. So essentially, you create a client job reference there, which is a unique reference. If I put the same one in again, so client 4 Excel, they'll go red to tell me that it's a duplicate. You don't want that because that's going to cause all sorts of confusion later on. So keep those unique. What you do is client job reference, client name in this column, job description in that column. That can be anything you like, just so you know what it is that you're doing. Your price per hour, your default price per hour. You can override this later on, but if you've got a default price per hour for each of these, you can customize each one. So in other words, if you're doing Excel for this guy, it could be a cheaper rate than doing Excel development for someone else. You can put in custom. And then this column you don't need to use if you don't want to, but you can, is the estimated number of hours you're going to spend on a project. The only reason what that does is it just shows you up over here to tell you roughly how much time you've still got to work, or if you've worked over the estimated time. If you leave this blank, that will stay blank. You don't need to put anything in here if you don't want to. It doesn't affect anything else. It literally just shows you here as to what you can expect. So just so you can get an idea of how many hours of work you still got lined up. That's all it really does. Those totals will show based on the totals that you've got down each of these columns. All right, so you don't do anything with the green. You just fill in the red section. So there's literally those 5 items there that you fill in order to create a new job. Once you've created a job, whenever you work on that job, you can come here and you can add them in here. Let's just go back to the job list for a second. We've left you 500 rows, so you can add up to 500 jobs, and you can add in up to 5,000, which we call them work sessions on each of those jobs. Now, how does your timesheet work? Each time you do work on a job, come down here, select which one. So let's just say we do some work for client 3 Excel work. When was it? We can put in today's date, so we can put in the 24th of February 2017. It tells you there what day it is. Start time, if we start at say 1 o'clock, in fact let me show you something here. If you start at 10 o'clock at night and you're going to work until 4 o'clock the next morning, you can put that in, put the date here where you're starting this if you're going over 2 days, but make sure that this doesn't exceed that time, so it's not more than 24 hours. If you put that time in as say 2300 hours, so you work from 10 o'clock tonight until tomorrow at 11 o'clock, it's going to assume that you only work for 1 hour because it's not going to know that you jumped a day. So you'd have to put in another entry for that. But if you do work, say, from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning, you can put that in. It'll recognize that there is 6 hours, so that's all right. And then you just say you took a 30-minute break. You can actually just put in there, throughout that period, I took a 30-minute break. So you don't have to put in all. If you work an hour, take a 20-minute break, an hour, take half an hour break, whatever. You don't have to put in each different session. You can put in the total session, and then over here, just put in how many, what your total breaks were for that over that period, and then you can see there 5.5 hours. This column you can leave blank if you're using the default hourly rate. If you decide actually this was a special occasion and yes, I did work that time, but I'm going to only charge the client, say, £15 an hour, then you put that in, you can see it overrides the hourly rate. If we scroll across, you can also see the money earned and so on that you've got for that time. Your notes, anything you like in here. This doesn't go anywhere, it's only for here, so you can put things on here if you want to remind you of something that you need to maybe do about that, or if you want to remind you of where you were, or maybe on site, or I don't know. Well, you can use this for whatever you want. This is only for your reference. And that is how you add it. So if you work on 2 different jobs, then you would make another entry for something else and put those details in for that job. And that's literally all you need to fill in as and when you work on each of the jobs. It knows this already because it pulls that from the job list and does some calculations. And as you fill those in, those are the only 2 sheets you need to fill in. This one to create a job, and that one when you work on it. And once you've done those 2, all the rest of these will automate for you. So let's take a look at the annual report. This is handy because it gives you a 12-month period. The date on the end, the last month, is always your current month. If you would like to override, so let's just say I want to see from January to December 2016, all I do is come up here, and instead of selecting December 2016, I just put in any date in December. It doesn't matter which day of the month, but any date in December 2016. Excel will check that out, go, that's December, so now it'll run from January to December. So now you can see your figures from January through to December. But if you leave that blank, it'll always take today's month as the final month, but it will go on until the end of the month. So obviously this month at the moment is almost complete, but if you were at the beginning of the month, you might see a shorter line here because of the fact that you're only at the beginning of that month. So what does this tell you? Your value earned in green, your hours worked in red. Now, there's not a direct relationship between the 2, but because one's plotted on one graph and the other one on one axis and the other one on the other secondary axis, what happens is you get an overlay, so you can get a very good idea. So for argument's sake, here, you may have worked a lot of hours for less pay, whereas here you work fewer hours for more pay. So you can get an idea of which months you've done more hours and the relationship between the amount of time you've worked and the amount that you've earned. You can also select a job reference. So you can go in and select any one of those jobs, and let's just go, well, actually, I would just like to see client 1 Excel work. And there you've got an idea of what you've done for that client as far as Excel work is concerned. But if you leave this blank, it will show you everybody. The second report looks the same, but there's different filters. So when you click on the second one, it's the same report, but what this one does is it gives you the values earned and what have you, but it shows you the values earned for everyone. But what you can do is you can then go and select a specific client. So again, put in the month that you want it to end, any day during that month, same as the last graph. But this one, what this one does is instead of selecting a specific job-client relationship in a specific job for a specific client, you select all the jobs for that client. So if I select client 1, that shows me the graph for client 1, not just one specific job, but all of them. Also, if I scroll down, it gives me client 1 statistics. So it shows me here how much, the red section is how much of my total time is taken up on client 1, how much of my total earnings is taken up with client 1. So they have a large chunk of the earnings. What they've positioned 1 out of 4, ranked 1 out of 4 for value, ranked 1 out of 4 for time. Overall, 44% of my value comes from them, 43% of my time comes from them. And down here you can see a month by month over that 12-month period as to which months I've earned more money from them, which months, obviously green, the better months, red, the lower ones, and how much time I've worked and how much money I've earned from them over those 6 months. Over the first 6 months, second 6 months. So that's a nice, what I called it internal client report, because obviously you wouldn't necessarily want the client to see this, but I've made also an external client report. Now this one, if you want to send it to your client, this would be the one to send to your client. And all you do here is select this part won't print. If you save this as a PDF or print it out, the white section should print. You can change your settings if you're going to view and page break, change those if you want. But essentially, you want the white section to save as a PDF or to print, not this gray section. You can select the client. So client 1. What start date? Well, let's just go back and have a look at this chart. When did we start? We started on the 1st of March. Let's just say you want to show the whole year from March to February. If you put in 1st of March 2016 to the 28th of February, now, 2017. Now, what you can do, obviously, you can do this for a month, from the 1st to the 31st, or a month, or a week, or however long a period you want. But once you've done that and you click enter, what it does is it shows you client report for client 1, 1st of March to 28th of February. How much time have I worked? How much have I earned? What was my minimum default rate? What's my maximum default rate? What that does is it checks on your job list and says, what's the minimum default rate for client 1? What's the maximum default rate for client 1? £35 an hour. List of jobs for client 1. There's the list. This is page 1 of 1. There is only 1 page. If you've got 2 pages, you'll have to print page 1 out and then print page 2. You can just, when you go, sorry, over here, you can click on there and just go to page 2. But if you go here, then there's nothing on page 2. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to be going to page 1. There's a list of all the things you've been doing for client number 1, hours each, value earned for each one, and all of these figures relate to those 2 months. So if I put the 1st of March 2016 to the 31st of March 2016, then it'll show me just those figures just for that month. If you want to send this document to a client, but you don't want to send the figures because you want to send the hours, but you don't want to have any of the monetary values, then when it says show finance, you can just select no, and it will blanken out all the ones that have got financial information in. So you can send the client that report should you want to, but you don't have to have the money in. You don't have to send the client this report. You can use this for yourself if you want to, but I've just made it kind of client friendly without any other details about any other clients on, should you want to send it. The only other thing that I would like to mention is in either of these 2 sheets, when you if you're copying data from anywhere else and pasting data into the sheet, when you say copy, even if you're pasting from this sheet and you come here to paste, in the more modern versions of Excel, you've got this type of issue. That's your normal paste. You don't want to use that. That's your paste values. That's the one you want to use. Because if you paste normal paste, you paste the old formatting, and that could ruin the spreadsheet. So you want to paste values whenever you're pasting. So that's what you click to paste. You can see obviously it's a duplicate, you want to take it out. If you do a normal, if you copy from another spreadsheet and do a normal paste, it could actually lock these cells, which means you won't be able to use them again. So you don't want to do that. You want to always paste values if you're pasting data in. But otherwise, yeah, I hope that that shows you how this product works. I hope that if you do have it, that you're getting the most out of it. Yeah, any other information, please do contact us or go to the website. And yeah, we wish you all the best. Thank you. Goodbye.